Aioli. It's one of the most popular and delicious condiments today. Created in Spain over 2,000 years ago, it's really come a long way. I'm gonna create an aioli with an extreme flavor boost using one of Canada's most popular foods, bacon, eh? Today, we're preparing traditional panini, Italian panini with bacon aioli and squash browns. I'm Chef Michael Williams, and that's what we're cooking on the coast. Benvenuto. We are looking to create meals that take less time but have more taste. Today we're creating an Italian panini sandwich with bacon aioli, fresh tomato, cashew microgreen pesto, and squash browns. Let's get right to it. So the first thing I need to do is get some bacon cooking. I've got a hot pan. I'm gonna get my bacon out of the fridge. Lovely Vancouver Island bacon from Hertel's. Fantastic product. And you know what? I'm gonna get as many in there as I can fit, because even if I had some leftover bacon, I'm sure I could take care of it. Beautiful, naturally smoked bacon. We had the good fortune of doing a tour with these guys last season, and it was incredible. Oh my goodness, the smoke rolling through that building and all of their incredible products. That was a lot of fun. Okay, so while our bacon's cooking, we're gonna get preparing some squash browns. Squash browns, you ask? Yes, squash browns. Instead of hash browns, we're using squash. This is my favorite squash to work with, actually, because it's the easiest. It's got this nice smooth skin, and it's so easy to peel. So if I cut it like that, this is the seedy area. Now, we're good to peel. Now, you know, technically you don't even have to peel the skin. That you can wash it up and enjoy the skin of many squashes, although they are a little bit more dense and fibrous, but I love that. Okay, so that's peeled. Get this guy peeled. That's good enough for me. So let's go ahead and start dicing this, shall we? Now, right now it's rolling around on the cutting board. It's a little bit potentially a hazard. So once you get that first cut, you just flip it down onto the cut side and then start working with it. And what we want to do here is just get little kind of, yeah, always trying to gauge it and figure it out, but we want cubes. So I've cut it that way. Maybe we'll do one cut this way. Same with these two guys. Okay, now we make our final cut and we have our perfect little hash brown size cubes of squash. And for the sake of the show, our little demonstration here, I think we'll roll with that. You know what? No, I want to show you. So to deal with this guy, we're gonna cut it in half, and that is where we've got our seeds. And just like a pumpkin, you can use a spoon to scoop it out. All we're gonna do is cut it in half this way. And then to replicate roughly the size, there we go. So we'll get those guys on there too. Now, I wanted to melt some butter and roast this squash with butter, but I realized that I've also got some bacon here cooking, and I'm gonna end up with some bacon fat left over really soon. In the meantime, I'm gonna season up with a little bit of cumin, a little bit of garlic, and then some salt and some pepper. So let's go ahead and get some good flavor going with our butternut squash here. Salt, fresh ground pepper, always fresh ground pepper. Some of this garlic powder. And cumin. Love, this is the roasted version. Love the roasted cumin. So a little bit of fat in that pan. Do we have enough out of this bacon? I actually intentionally chose the meatiest, leanest bacon I could find. So we might even need a little bit of butter, but I think we got enough there. Let's give it a go. So I'm gonna use my tongs here and hold this while I drizzle that beautiful bacon fat over top. And you know what, just for good measure, that's a little bit light potentially. I'm gonna put just a little knob of butter, maybe two. And that is ready. That's ready to go in the oven. Now, let's give our bacon a turn. Get the other side going. Now we're gonna do some funky stuff here with this bacon real quick. We're gonna, of course, use the bacon in the sandwich, but I'm also gonna make a bacon aioli. Kind of like a fancy mayo, right? So we'll let that do its thing for a little bit longer, and let's go ahead and get started on our aioli. I've got my handy immersion blender here that I'm gonna be using. And in order to make an aioli, we of course need egg yolks, just the yolks. So I'm gonna separate the yolk from the white. This is my easiest way to separate an egg. Okay, we'll reserve this. Don't just toss it. Go ahead and, fry up some egg whites at a later date. So a little bit of garlic, some shallots. We've got a beautiful aged balsamic vinegar here. And then of course, oil. So I'm gonna go ahead and look at maybe just a quarter of this shallot. Peel that whole half there. And then I'll just take probably about half of it. Give it a bit of a head start here. My immersion blender is gonna do a lot of the work for me though. And probably 2 or 3 cloves of garlic is what we're looking for. Now look at the bacon. Now we got some crispy action happening. I'm just gonna turn the heat off on that and let the residual heat finish. Okay, so let's get a few cloves of garlic and we're ready to aioli. Now we're making a panini sandwich real soon, but we're just getting some things out of the way. Those squash browns are gonna be a beautiful side. They're roasting away in the oven. And this bacon aioli is gonna be something that you can use in so many different ways. It's such a great high-end fancy mayo, right? We're gonna need some seasoning in there for sure. Lots of fresh salt and pepper. Let's get a few pieces of this crispy bacon. It's gonna be hot, so don't mind my chef fingers. Probably about there. We'll get our balsamic in there now. I'm just eyeballing it as you can see, but all the recipe details, they're gonna be there for you. You can check out the show notes afterwards. Okay, that's probably gonna be where we're gonna start. Let's go ahead and buzz this up as much as we can. Great, now we can start adding our oil. And this is how we do it. Now you can of course do this by hand with a whisk, but the use of great kitchen machinery makes the job so much easier because we would need to chop all that stuff up real fine. There we have it. We'll be back later in the show to pull together our Italian panini with bacon aioli and squash browns, but before that, we're road tripping. See you after the break.
Cookin' on the Road is brought to you by Cold Star Solutions, an integral part of Vancouver Island's grocery supply chain for 20 years.
I gotta say, I'm pretty darn excited to be here at Natural Pastures with Doug. You're gonna tell us all about how you guys were kind of one of the pioneers of the artisan cheese here on Vancouver Island. Is that right?
Absolutely. Welcome.
Thank you. It's quite the operation.
Yeah, not many people actually get to see in the back room.
Yeah,
so
right.
you get a peek behind the curtain today.
That's right, yeah. I mean, you guys have some big time equipment in here, but you're still like small scale and artisan, that attention to detail. What is it that makes your cheese stand out?
Well, first of all, it's the milk.
Yeah.
We get all of our buffalo milk and our cow's milk both here from the Comox Valley.
Right,
Like
okay.
the farms are literally 2-3 kilometers from where we are right now.
So there's a pipe directly from the farm?
Just about.
Almost?
and it's the skill of our cheesemakers. Our
Right.
head cheesemaker, Paul Sutter, is originally from Switzerland. He trained there.
Okay.
So he has a wealth of technical knowledge as well as a lot of experience. In this room, we make all of our firm cheese and our fresh mozzarellas. So today we're doing Pacific pepper,
Nice.
which is a black pepper habanero spice with a verdelé cheese, and that was a cheese that Paul had developed himself.
Now, I've been a huge fan of your your soft cheeses. I love your camembert and your brie. How does that differentiate from what we're talking about here with your aged cheeses?
All cheese making kind of goes through the same thing. You take the milk, you add a culture. Once the culture's grown a bit, you add an enzyme to coagulate it.
Yeah.
It gets cut and stirred to separate the curds and the whey.
Right.
And then it gets put into a mold. The difference between a firm cheese and a soft cheese is what type of cultures you use, how much of the enzyme you use, how much you cut it. Soft cheese is a much more delicate cheese.
Okay.
So we don't cut the curd as much, we don't separate as much whey out of it, because we want it to have more moisture to retain that softness.
Right.
So we have dedicated equipment specifically for the soft cheese. So.
Well, all this talk about cheese has my tummy grumbling. Do you have some samples? I'd love to see what you guys have been up to.
Yes, nobody goes out of here without trying some cheese.
Awesome, man. Right on. This is the one that we just made.
That's correct. That's the Pacific pepper.
Yeah.
And that was the firm cheese.
With the habaneros, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
And over here was the Comox camembert that we looked at in the soft cheese room as well.
This is incredible. It's so soft, and really the flavor of the peppers. Yeah.
And then over on the other tray, that's our bocconcini bufala. So it's a fresh traditional mozzarella made with water buffalo milk.
Right.
And the last one for you to sample today is our aged farmhouse, and that's the one we were looking at in the aging room.
Right.
The crystals.
Almost 2 years you age it for?
Yeah. It's got
So
such a
worth it.
rich flavor.
Oh, yeah. Doug, thank you so much for showing us around your facility here in Courtenay. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Well, thank you for coming. I quite enjoyed showing it around. And
Awesome.
You have such a interest in cheese, it makes it easy.
That's right. Well, speaking of cheese, I'm going to keep sampling. So good. Back into the kitchen. We're pulling together our Italian panini with bacon aioli and squash browns. 18 pounds. That's how much bacon the average North American eats. I think I filled my quota last year. I'm gonna work on getting my quota up this year too. So we've got our bacon ready. We've got our bacon aioli ready. Like, this stuff's amazing. I'm telling you, oh, the balsamic, the bacon, it's gonna be real good. But I wanna make a pesto right now. Pestos are all different kinds of ways you can make a pesto, traditionally with pine nuts, but I'm gonna start off with some cashews here. I've got some raw cashews. I've already got a bit of shallot and garlic in my little mini food processor here. So it's kind of mostly a cashew base with some greens, some aromatics, and some Parmesan cheese. This is, although this is an Italian episode, I've got some beautiful Canadian-made Parmesan cheese from Paradise Island, another fantastic local company. So we're here, we need a little bit of lemon juice. So let's get some lemon juice going in here. And then the greens, basil is kind of the typical for a pesto, basil and pine nuts and Parmesan cheese, but we're changing it up, as I do. And we are going with these Foodie Biz microgreens. This is their hot and spicy blend, so they're sprouts. You cannot imagine how much vitality and energy are in these little sprouts. They're ready to burst into big, massive plants, and they're ready to feed us great nutrition. We're gonna fill it out with a little bit of cilantro, and I'm gonna go ahead and get some grapeseed oil into there, and we'll just start pulsing this up. And if we need to add a bit more oil to it, we will. Let's start there. And we've got a little bit of salt with the cheese, but I'm gonna add a bit of extra salt as well as more fresh ground pepper. You can never have too much fresh ground pepper as far as I'm concerned. Let's buzz this up. We're looking for consistency here. I want something that I can nicely spread onto my sandwich. I like my pestos a little bit chunky still, so it's got some great texture. Hey, I think we're happy with that. Let's find out. Bright, fragrant, potent, fantastic. That is so good. Okay, let's now make our panini, all right? Now, the panini sandwich, although it's perhaps referenced in 16th century Italy, it really became, and that was totally a different animal. It became the thing we know it as today in the 70s. Italian cafes, panini sandwiches really became a hugely popular thing. And, the trend didn't take too long to make its way to North America. So what we're gonna do, I don't have a panini press, but I'm gonna show you a way around that. By the way, Thomas Edison, that's who invented the panini press. How about that one? So this is our ciabatta bread, freshly baked, beautiful. And much like focaccia, the ciabatta is light and airy. Check that out. So we're gonna start this off with a nice smear of our bacon aioli on the bottom. We're going to add in our pesto on top. And then I'm gonna grab some tomato, get that out of the way. Let's slice up a tomato, shall we? And then to complete this sandwich, we have some lovely cheese, which I'm just about to pull out of the fridge. We've got our Parmesan from Paradise Island. And we've also got some Comox Camembert from Natural Pastures. Fantastic cheese, super rich and creamy. We're gonna slice this up, get our bacon on, and our sandwich can hit the pan. So we'll just slice this. I'm gonna leave the rind on. Some people like to take the rind off. I like the rind. So we'll line this up on top of our tomato like so. Grab our bacon now, and we're ready to hit the pan. Now I told you I didn't have a panini press. It's true. I'm gonna show you. I've got this beautiful grill pan. Now you could do this on the barbecue. You could do this in just a regular cast iron pan or whatever pan you have. Just have a little bit in it, but the idea is to press it, and the panini press actually cooks it on both sides at the same time. So I'm gonna have to give this a turn, but we'll let that do its thing. We're just trying to kind of warm everything up, toast that bread a little bit, and I'm gonna grab a couple plates, and I'm gonna grab the squash browns. There's our plates, and here is our beautiful squash browns. Look at that, right? Oh, this is getting exciting. Let's take a look and see how our panini sandwiches are doing. I'm gonna take my little press off. I'm gonna give them a turn. Oh yeah, crispy, beautiful lines. Couple more seconds there. Let's get this plated up. So I'm gonna get some squash browns going. Pile them up nicely there. Oh, these are so good. Final touch is gonna be some chive over top of those. Like so. It's time, folks. You ready? I'm ready. Everything's nice and warm and toasty in here. Right, look at that. Are we happy? If you wanted to, you might wanna just put a little bit of extra aioli on there. And now we're laughing. There you have it. Italian panini sandwich with bacon aioli, fresh tomato, some homemade pesto, and squash browns. Magnifico.
Pairings are brought to you by Liquor Plus. Discover the plus.
Now for something to complement our meal. Let's explore a beverage pairing here with Garrett from Bones Brewing. Brand new, you guys are, yeah?
Yeah, we just started about a year ago.
Right on. Yeah. So here in Victoria, why'd you decide to open a brewery?
Well, my friend Mike Roberts, he had a brewery in Thailand that did really well. He won a lot of awards over there for it, and he moved his family back to Victoria, so we got this started up.
Well, congratulations. I sent you a few details on what I was going to create here today. A nice rich sandwich. We've got Comox Camembert. We've got balsamic bacon aioli. I've actually infused bacon into the aioli.
Yeah.
Made a delicious pesto. So how did you decide to pair up for us?
Yeah, for our Bones IPA is kind of our flagship beer, and I think it's going to pair perfectly exactly with this. It'll really, the hop bitterness will help cut through the creaminess in the cheese and the bacon.
Cool.
And the complexities of the sandwich will be matched nicely with the beer.
Awesome. Can we have a taste? I'd love to give it a try. And let's see how your pairing stacks up, shall we?
All right, sounds good.
Awesome. Cheers.
Cheers.
That is a delicious IPA. Nice.
Thank you.
Very smooth. All right, so I got a sandwich here. I'm just gonna tuck right in. Very rich sandwich. Lots of flavor going on there. Creaminess. Back to the beer now, shall we?
Yeah.
Perfect. I think you nailed it.
Yeah.
That's a great pairing.
Great sandwich.
Absolutely. So tell us a little bit more about Bones Brewery.
Okay, yeah, so the artwork on the cans we took from the Fernwood neighborhood of Victoria.
Okay.
They have a community program where everyone decorates the street poles in front of their houses.
I've seen it. That's awesome.
Yeah,
Cool.
it's really cool. And we've partnered with the Fernwood Neighborhood Resource Group, so we're
Okay.
giving money back from each batch to the community association.
That's
and
awesome.
they do a lot of great work with that.
Yeah, that's a great way to capitalize on local artwork and talent. Fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so you got an IPA. What else do you guys have?
Well, we have some sours. We have a raspberry sour, which we use 1,000 pounds of raspberries in a 5,000 liter tank of beer. So it's a lot of raspberry. So a very fruity beer. We've got an imperial sour, which is a little bit stronger. It's got blueberries, passion fruit, and raspberry in it.
Okay.
And then our 2 IPAs. So we've got a mosaic IPA. It's a little bit fruitier. We've got a little bit of blueberry and citrus in there. And the one we're drinking is a Bones IPA. It's really tropical, got passion fruit, really citrusy flavor in there.
Well,
Yeah.
I think you guys are well on your way to a successful future.
All right, thanks
Thanks
you.
a lot for coming in, Garrett. Cheers.
Cheers.
Check out our website where you'll find the details on today's episode. I'm Chef Mike, and don't forget, dinner's better when we eat together.